What if I told you you need zero experience to start making money as a freelancer? Hi guys, my name is Natasha. Straight out of uni, I turned freelancing into a thriving business that not only created job opportunities for myself, but others as well. Now, I'm here to share everything I've learned so you can do the same and build your own success. If you watched my previous video, I shared everything you need to know to start freelancing in the year 2025. But today I just wanted to talk you guys through my own experience. I've been freelancing for about 2-3 years now, and I started out freelancing with zero experience. And I got my first two clients within the first 2 months of promoting my service as a freelancer. So when I started freelancing, I think, towards the end of my third year in university slash the beginning of my final year. And I pretty much started freelancing because I was broke. Actually, there were a number of reasons, but the number one thing was because I was broke. I didn't have money, right? And I knew that I wanted to, start some type of job so that I could be earning money for myself. Being in my third year, about to enter my fourth year, also most likely whatever you earned your third year with is probably what you're going to graduate with. So I was very intentional about like making sure my grades were at least at a good point, right? And then also, it was just like after this was just after like the COVID year, and I feel like the COVID year taught us that you could work from home. You don't really have to work like in a physical office. So I knew that I wanted it to be something remote, especially like considering the fact that I didn't have the luxury of commuting for work physically. So those were like a few things. But I think another thing was also, I've always been the type that overthinks a lot of things, right? And considering I was just about to enter my final year, for me, that was the time that I needed to start thinking about what the long term goal would be for me because I can be very hard on myself. So, and there's this thing called post graduation depression. I knew that there is a high chance that I fall into that. And I just wanted to try to avoid that. So I had all these reasons to start freelancing, so that was basically my motivation for freelancing. Once I knew, okay, I wanted to do something remote, I wanted to work from home, I wanted to be able to be flexible with my hours so it doesn't affect school. So with that, I decided, okay, this is time to like, I started doing some research, right? And, went on the internet, looked at what people needed, what virtual or remote work I could do. So while I was doing my research, I found out about virtual assistants. Remember, I said that at this time was just post COVID year. With the COVID year, we figured that okay, you could actually work from home. You don't need to go to a physical job. People were starting their own businesses with like, making their businesses pretty much virtual. People realized that they don't need like a full-on physical staff. They could literally run an entire business online, so there was a huge need for virtual assistants. So I knew that okay, it's virtual assistants that I wanted to go in. So it was now to figure out what skills, what strengths do I have that I could, kind of niche down as a virtual assistant. So I started thinking, okay, you know, how can I really fit into admin operations virtual assistant? I had worked physically as a customer support staff. Um, and I've also worked, in admin and operations related fields, either through interning or just some holiday job. So I knew that it's something I could definitely do. And on top of that, like I'm very organized. Like always have to have a structure around things, and just, I need to have a workflow. There needs to be a plan. Like I'm very, structured and organized, which is my the two major things when you want to go into administration or operations. So I knew that it was going to be admin and operations virtual assistants for me. Now it was just figuring out how I could put myself out there for people to want to work with me. That was most times, especially if you have like a remote career, most people when they want to work with you, they'll rather you have some form of they'll rather go through referrals, or they rather you have some track record, because like you're working remotely with this person and there's a high chance that this person is never going to see you in person. They're going to be giving their money to you, who's a complete stranger, not having like a portfolio of work that you've done in the past, or even people that can vet you, can be like a bit of a worry for them sometimes. So that was something that I really needed to think about. I had physical experience, right? But I haven't really worked remotely, right? And my last job, things didn't really end well with my previous employer. It wasn't a thing where there was a big fight, but I was like cheated, right? I felt cheated. So because of that, like the relationship did not really end well. So I knew that with this new job that I was trying to find, I couldn't really go back to her to um, have her like vet me. So that was like a major cause of concern, right? But anyways, I mean that was like something that I knew that I would figure out when the clients come. Right now, I just needed to get in the faces of the right people. So even though I knew that I wanted to work as an admin and operations freelancer, virtual assistant slash freelancer, I didn't know who I wanted to work with. But based on the research I was doing, I was seeing a lot of founders, like people were coming up with new businesses. So it seemed like a lot of founders were the ones who needed all the help. So I decided to, focus on founders. The best place to find founders is LinkedIn. So I went on LinkedIn, and it was so hard for me because I'm a very reserved person. I can be shy, right? So it's like, how am I going to get on LinkedIn now and be creating content? Like the idea of it was just so cringe to me because I'm like, like I don't really know how I'm going to do this. Like, so I started with some steez, right? So like I wasn't really um doing everything. Like I was still being a bit conscious. Created an account on LinkedIn, look at what other people were doing, and just try to package myself properly. And that just is, optimizing my LinkedIn profile. Watch some YouTube videos for people that were already like virtual assistants. Created a booking link. Put together a little bit of a portfolio based on what I'd worked on in the past, and also as a part of me like creating my own business as a freelancer, like my own small business as a freelancer, I also needed to put some admin and operations things in place. So those were one of the things that I added in my portfolio. I did a little bit of lurking around on LinkedIn for a bit before I started creating my content. And the first few content that I created, now thinking about it, were so I don't even know, like they worked for me, Sha. They worked for me. But like, I started just trying to create content, but I wasn't too sure. Like that was my first time creating LinkedIn content. So I wasn't too sure how to, go about it. And also I was struggling a bit. I wasn't like very consistent. But one thing I know that I did was I was always on LinkedIn. So, scrolling through LinkedIn, and at that time when I started, it seemed like a lot of people were taking their LinkedIn journey like very serious. So there were a lot of challenges, like join my community, we're doing a 30 days posting challenge, something like that. So I joined one of them actually. So that was what helped me build commitment to build to creating content on LinkedIn, because everybody had to post on LinkedIn at least 3 times a week, and then you have to post your like the link to the post that you made for the day on the WhatsApp group. People would engage. And when people started sharing their success story, by creating content, I got my first client, I got my that would like definitely inspire you to get serious about posting on LinkedIn. So that was what I did. I wasn't consistent for the whole 30 days, but I know that I did at least 20 to 21 days, which was good. Like it was all I needed to get the ground running basically. So aside from creating content, I also like was applying to jobs heavily. Went on like the LinkedIn job section, found some remote jobs that they needed admin managers or whatever. I was applying heavily, and I was rejected heavily. Like the same pressure I put into applying was the same pressure I received with those rejection emails. And that was really, really tough for me. Like honestly, at some point I almost felt discouraged, but I didn't really have anything else I was doing. And I was very committed to it. And I knew that it's something that works because on LinkedIn, I saw people like myself, people who were virtual assistants like myself, like getting results that they needed. So I knew that it's something that would work. I just needed to stick to it for a while. And I had a friend who had a friend who was succeeding as a virtual assistant. So it wasn't like I was doing something that people don't need. It was just because I was a newbie. Like I'm still trying to figure out the ropes of things. So that really affected me. And then another thing I did was, I wanted to focus on working with founders. So I, did like a huge research on LinkedIn to find a lot of founders, especially people that were just starting out their businesses, which is not really the best route to go in. You don't really want to start with people who are just starting out too, not because there isn't anything there, but they most likely don't really have the budget for it. But I still did, Sha. So I was sending a bunch of connection requests. Like I'm surprised my account didn't get banned because LinkedIn has like restrictions and limits. I was bombarding people with connection requests like within those first few months. So and at the time I just thought like was connection request you could send. Like you can't just go and DM a founder and just be like, hi, I want to work with you. Like the audacity. Like that was what I thought. Like I didn't think that that was something that you could do. So I was just sending a lot of connection requests only and posting content. That's all. And then aside from like engaging with the little community I had, like we just comment on each other's posts. But I thought I could just do that because I kind of know these people. We're in the same community, the commitment we have to each other. But like a random stranger on LinkedIn, like I took LinkedIn as one serious kidney like that. So like how would I just want to comment on like who knows me, do you get? So I was just sending connection requests and creating content and applying to jobs basically. That was my strategy. So doing all that, like honestly, it works for me. I mean, I got my first clients within the first 2 to 3 months. I think that is pretty impressive. But I most probably could have gotten it earlier on if I did like a bit more like engaging, sending DMs. But it still worked for me, right? I got that first DM. It was a Nigerian founder. He actually has a company in Nigeria, but he's based in the UK. Like I think he was the CTO. Yeah, he was one of the founders. Actually, he was the CTO of the company. Was he COO? I'm not too sure. COO or CTO. So he reached out to me on LinkedIn DM. I'm like, hey. So we started talking, and like he was asking all these questions, all this. There's someone I can talk to. To remind you guys that my previous employer relationship didn't really end well. So I forgot that I had interned someplace else. So in being I was in uni and I was just rounding up my 300 level. But in my third year as well, we also did another internship and I had a relationship there. So during the time that I was building myself as a admin operations virtual assistant, I started connecting again with the last place I had interned, like with the person I worked with there. Like he was literally like my direct superior, right? So he was managing me at the time that I was interning for the company. So we started connecting again. So at the time when I got this offer on LinkedIn, and this guy then asked me, and he's like, is there somebody that I can speak to that you have worked with? I was like, I mean, I told him yes, right? Because I needed to like figure out a way. Like even if it wasn't somebody that I'd worked with like directly, like maybe somebody that I've done something for free for, or just something that I've done, someone that I've done something for, even if it's not a full-time job, I knew that there had to be someone, right? But I wasn't sure who. So I was talking to my manager at the last place I interned, and while we were talking, he was asking me, "Oh, so what are you doing? What are you?" I just remember that, like I got an offer, and then somebody like needs somebody like that they could speak to. Oh yeah, cool. Like he's fine with it, and that was literally how I was able to get that job, and we started working together. So at the time when he reached out to me, he had the plans of coming to Nigeria for I don't know what, I think something related to his company or like some family thing. Can't remember the details of it. But he needed to do that while juggling, like still working. So he needed me to help with like what's it called, like travel prep, like coming from UK to Nigeria, like the train ride from the UK, like within the UK. Mind you, I'm in Nigeria. Like, what do I know about UK train ride? Right, train ride within the UK. A car that's going to pick him when he gets to Nigeria. A hotel or Airbnb that he could stay at. A car that he could like rent while he's in Nigeria. And also, while in Nigeria, he wanted to start some real estate business. So that's another reason why he was coming. So he needed me to kind of help with some admin there as well. So, like, the majority of the thing was travel prep, right? It's not just for him coming, it's also for him going back to the UK. So that's pretty much what I was going to be doing. Something that I haven't done before. But I have a friend who used to do a lot of that for her uncle. So I knew that I could like reach out to my friend and she kind of helped me. Yeah, that was how I started working with him. I worked with him for about 2 to 3 months before we stopped working together. I mean, we still have a relationship till now. Like, I think after we even stopped working, he's reached out to me again. When like after I scaled up my freelancing, of course, but he's reached out to me again, and I've helped him work on like a project thing for when he was coming to Nigeria also. So just getting that first client gave me like all the confidence I needed. So I knew that okay, this is something that works. So I continued my LinkedIn journey, posting, applying to jobs. But I joined another community that was doing like another 30 days posting challenge. Firstly, I was posting like 2 to 3 days per week. But now I wanted to post like 5 days a week. This other community was a paid community, like we had to pay for it. The first one was just free, like a bunch of beginners that just came together. The second one was led by somebody who was like one of the LinkedIn like big creators basically in Nigeria. So we paid to join. So I joined and I took that one more serious. And this one was where I learned a lot more. Aside from posting every day, like 5 days a week, they also taught us what type of content works well on LinkedIn. This is when you learned about carousels, like shortening your posts, engaging not just with people in the community, but they also asked us to engage with people that are our target audience or people who work with our target audience. Also told us how to find um, customers, not just by searching, but also going into people's comments, told us to start sending DMs. We had like live one-on-one um, calls where we could ask questions, where they would review like our post, give feedback. So this one really, really helped me and I was like really properly, and it helped me re-optimize my LinkedIn a lot more. Like I started working on my cover photo, having a better like profile picture, playing around with the featured section, having a link in my bio, like stuff like that. It really helped me optimize LinkedIn a lot more better than the first time. And doing that again, like literally within like that 30 days challenge, like I think maybe a week or two after, I got another offer. And this person reached out to me again. This was another founder for a health tech company. And this person he was so ready. Like he didn't really even stress me too much. Like he was just like, oh, I really like your content. Like I see, stuff like that. I see what you talk about. Like everything you talk about is what I need. So I could tell that he was very interested in working with me. We had a proper onboarding process. And that's how I got like my second gig. And I was still working in that job until I graduated uni. And even like a year after I graduated uni, I was still working in that job. And honestly, I started out as his virtual assistant. Then I got promoted like in the first 6 months to like head of operations. So that job like really was the foot in the door for me because it referred me to another person and that just kept on bringing more and more opportunities my way. So while I was working with this client, honestly, I wasn't a virtual assistant again at this time. I was his full-time staff, but he did not stop me from doing my own thing. Like he didn't mind like me doing like my own thing. He didn't have a problem with that at all. The most important thing was for him was just that I was reaching, like I was meeting my KPIs. If that was done, then we didn't have like any problem. And like while I was working full time for that business, and because I believed in the vision, I wasn't taking as much clients, but I was still taking on clients. But I decided to scale my freelancing side a bit different. So I was still getting some side gigs, but if I didn't have the time for it, I'll partner with other virtual assistants like myself. We'll work together on that task, or I would just outsource it to them. And when I get paid, we split the fee. If we worked on it together, we split it like this equally. If they worked on it more, they get more of the money. So I'm still getting paid, but I'm not spending as much time on it. Another thing I started doing was I started joining Facebook groups. There are lots of Facebook virtual assistant groups where you see like proper jobs and like people are always posting every day. While I was working full time with the health tech founder, like I wasn't really taking other like full time jobs. I was taking more contract based or project based jobs. For somebody who's just starting out as a freelancer, obviously now you know that it's something that you can definitely do. If you have zero experience, it's possible for you to still make money as a freelancer. But these are the biggest tips that I would say. Try to stand out. Do something that would make you stand out from the rest. Another thing I would say is to be consistent, like post consistently, engage with people strategically, join communities, build relationships, give value through content. Don't just post content for the sake of posting. Make sure to be proactive. Don't wait for people to come to you. Like you literally need to be proactive and put yourself out there. That's the honestly the only way to win, when you're proactive, when you're doing something that 90% of the people is not willing to do. Another thing is to be relentless and stay resilient. When I started out, the rejections I got, God, the rejections I got were on another level. But because I had a goal in mind, like there are lots of things that were motivating me. I knew that I couldn't just give up. And looking at other people, like people were doing it, right? So it's not that it can't be done. So like I just needed to stick to it and be relentless and restless about it. And look for other people who are already successfully doing what you're doing. I feel like these days when people see somebody doing really well, like when someone is doing well, you automatically like want to hate on that person or wish the person bad. But other people's success should motivate you, not make you jealous. If it's making you jealous, there's something wrong somewhere. Like it should be motivating you. So like let your LinkedIn profile, or your, if it's TikTok, your Instagram, whatever, things popping up on your feed should be people motivating you. If you feel like it's putting you under pressure, then maybe take a step back, because it's very possible. But try to change your mindset to be motivated by people's success. Because when you're doing that, you're kind of automatically like manifesting basically. And then the final thing I'll say is learn to scale strategically. As you're freelancing, the goal is not to have 5 clients that you're working with because you'll be burnt out. You'll be making money, but you'll be spending money on your health and all that. Like that's not smart. Like create room for others as well. When you have like maybe 2 clients that you're working with, you're trying to take 3 more, bring other people, create a team around that. Like don't try to do everything by yourself, because you just stretch yourself. It's impossible. Okay. Let me tell you now, it's impossible. Even if you do it, something's gotta give. Like you're going to be sacrificing something for that money that I get from 5 clients, something you'll be sacrificing. And I'm here to tell you that that thing you'll be sacrificing is your mental health and your physical health. It's not worth it. You're making money so you can have a good life, not so that you're spending the money on healthcare. So scale strategically. The goal should be to build a team, not to build 5 clients that you're handling by yourself. If you want to have 5 clients, have 5 other people that are working with you to service these clients. You'll still be making money. Trust me. Yeah, that's pretty much everything about my experience, getting into freelancing with no experience and getting my first clients like in the first 2 to 3 months. If you love videos like this, and if there's anything you want to know about getting into freelancing, please stick to my YouTube channel. I have got a lot more videos that are coming your way. And if you have any ideas on what you want me to talk about, you can leave them in the comment section. I'm always happy to hear your thoughts and your comments on them. But thank you so much for sticking with me up to this point in this video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe so that you don't miss whenever I post. Share this with anybody you think will find it very useful. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.